Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Council Member Kia Aina, can you please lead the council in the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Councilmember Kia Aina, would you like to introduce our guest giving the message of Aloha? Come.
Thank you, Chair. Today I have the honor of introducing Dr. Kamana'opono Crab, who will be delivering this morning's message of Aloha. He is currently the President and CEO for Pohana Consultation Services, Lead Executive of Hawaii Executive Collaborative, Rediscovering Hawaii's Soul, Executive Counselor of Asian Pacific American Health Forum, and formerly the CEO of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Dr. Crab is a respected voice and advocate for the Native Hawaiian community, advancing Native Hawaiian rights, addressing social inequities, and promoting community health, resilience, and well-being across Hawaii and the Pacific. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kamana'o Crab.
Mahalo. Vilina mai ke aloha kuria kakoa pau e nahoa, I ka po e lehu no ka aina, ia o ko, e na kaho aina no kei aupuni o aho ke aloha no. Good morning, everyone. Mahalo, Councilwoman Kia Aina, for the kind introduction. I wanted to be very brief because Esther told me only 5 minutes. Don't make like Sam Choi. Go on. I ka waka hiko, wahi au na kupuna, ka mea nui no ke aloha, I ka hoʻokipa, ka whilina mai. In the olden days, I used to hear from my parents a lot. What was most important about pilina, relationships with other people, and sharing of aloha is really hoʻokipa, is when you welcome people to your house. Regardless, of what you have in the cupboard, you give and you welcome them, how you make people feel. And I was sharing with Tommy about, I saw on the news this past week of the destruction in Waialua and Haleiwa and all around the island throughout our state. So it reminded me of the awesome responsibility of you folks as council, City Council of Honolulu, and the awesome burden of caring for our people. And so this message is about the message of kanawai, of aloha, of opuali'i, of paramount chiefs, and particularly kuali'i. Kuali'i during the reign around sometime 17th, 18th century. It was a very chaotic and warlike time, sort of kind of like now. He was a chief who hailed from Kailua, and from a young child was already involved in many battles and wars. But he grew up to be a well-known war chief and general and was known for his strategies. But later on, he established himself as an elder statesman, and that's why he has been given the title of Opuali'i, a benevolent, compassionate chief of wisdom and courage. And one of his first kanawai was the kanawai Ni'aupio Kolovalu. Ni'aupio Kolovalu. It was the edict or the law of protecting elderly women and children of safety, and the kauoha, or the order to fishermen and farmers to always take in strangers along the highway, regardless of where they are from. But when people travel from one ahupua'a to the next, always open your house to feed people who may be less fortunate. Kamehameha is known for mamalahoa for the island of Oahu, but for the island of Oahu the first edict was established by the chief Kuali'i, and the kanawai was Ni'aupio Kolovalu. And so I share that is because it reminds us of our kuleana to citizens of our islands to always care for others. And especially during this time as we recover from the storms of the past 2 weeks, we do what we can, and you folks have been doing a wonderful job about it. But I share that is because how in the spirit of aloha, in the spirit of your duty as council people, caring for our communities, we continue that also responsibility of opuali'i and caring for our residents of Hawaii. No laila, mahalo ako nui a oe council woman, ke aina no ke kono ana mai kipa ako ia o ko e ka analiki no ke mea leo aloha. E pai aku ia hoko no ko kule ana. Simple mahalo for the opportunity to share. Thank you, Councilwoman Kiaina, and all of you folks as you continue your responsibilities in serving our county of Oahu. Mahalo.
Thank you so much. Along those lines, I also want to take a moment to recognize the courage of our communities in the face of the Honolulu storms that have devastated our state. These past several weeks have been very difficult for communities across Oahu. Waialua, Haleiwa, Waianae, Manoa, and Pololo were the hardest hit. Every council district has felt the impacts of the heavy rains and have blanketed our state. We have seen how quickly severe weather can disrupt lives, damage property, and place tremendous strain on our families and neighborhoods. I want to extend my deepest mahalo to the countless community organizers, volunteers, and residents who have stepped up to help each other. Your compassion, leadership, and service reflect the very best of Hawaii. I've witnessed firsthand the courage of community and aloha in action. In times of disaster, the people of Oahu step forward, neighbors helping neighbors, families helping families, friends, volunteers, and even strangers coming together as one ohana. This is the spirit, the aloha spirit, that carries us forward as we continue the arduous work of cleanup, recovery, and rebuilding. Members, I do have procedural announcements. Although remote oral testimony is being permitted, this is a regular meeting and not a remote meeting by interactive conference technology under HRS section 92-3.7. Therefore, the meeting will continue notwithstanding the loss of audiovisual communication with remote testifiers or the loss of public broadcast of the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda either in person in the council chamber or remotely. As both English and Hawaiian are official language of the state of Hawaii, pursuant to Article 15, Section 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution, Section 1-13 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, members of the public may testify in either language. For oral testimonies offered in Olelo, Hawaii, additional time as may be necessary will be allowed for the testifiers to provide an English translation of their testimony. Before testifying, each person shall state their full name and the agenda item they are speaking on. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 3-minute presentation for public hearing and new business and a 1-minute presentation on all other items. Registered in-person testifiers will be called first. When your name is called, please proceed to the podium and begin by stating your name and the items you'll be speaking on. When I call for anyone who has not registered to speak in person, please line up to the right of the podium, and when it is your turn, proceed to the podium. Begin by stating your name and the items you'll be speaking on. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or phone will then be called. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. When I call for anyone else standing by remotely, please utilize the Zoom raise hand button to indicate your desire to speak. For those joining us by telephone only, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. The following are some friendly reminders and tips. Video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceeding on Olelo, please mute your television when you are called to testify. When the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. For those who are joining us by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, press star 6 to unmute yourself when prompted. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones for the duration of the meeting. Pursuant to Communication MM-34-2026, Resolution 26-72 on page 27, accepting a gift of travel-related expenses valued at $450 to the city from Fuzhou Municipal People's Government for Mayor Rick Blangiardi's visit to Fuzhou, China from March 29th to April 1st has been canceled and will not be considered. I'd like to call the meeting to order. But before we start, members, one more. Can we do a moment of silence for Colleen Hanabusa? I'd like to recognize the life, leadership, and legacy of Colleen Hanabusa, who passed away earlier this month. She was a proud graduate of St. Andrew's Priority, and having attained her bachelor's, master's, and law degrees, all from the University of Hawaii, Colleen served our state with strength, purpose, and a deep sense of kuleana, which left a lasting mark not only in Hawaii, but across our nation as well. Colleen served as our representative for Hawaii's 1st Congressional District and was the first female president of the state Senate. A Waianae native known as a tougher-than-nails advocate, she was a major force in local and federal politics. In her most recent role, Colleen served as board chair of the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation, successfully securing major funding for Skyline and significantly shaping Oahu's future. The Honolulu City Council extends its deepest condolences to her family, loved ones, and colleagues. At this time, let us observe a moment of silence to honor Colleen Wakako Hanabusa. Thank you, members. I do want to note that Councilmember Wire is excused from today's meeting. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
Here.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Here.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Here.
Councilmember Nishimoto? Councilmember Okimoto?
Present.
Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Eo.
Councilmember Wire?
Excused.
Chair Waters?
Here.
Mr. Chair, 8 members are present, 1 member is absent.
Thank you. Floor Leader Kia Aina, introduction of guests.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to recognize some of the cabinet members from the administration, Director Laura Thielen from the Department of Parks and Recreation, Manager Ernie Lau from the Honolulu Board of Water Supply, Deputy Director Gavin Thornton from the Department of Housing and Land Management, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services Andy Kawano, Kim Hashiro, Director of the Department of Customer Services, nominees and appointees of our city's various boards and commissions, community members and stakeholders interested in today's agenda. And I also wanted to recognize students, MIT graduate students from the Department of Urban Studies and Planning who are here this week because they're taking a course on cities and climate change, indigenous environmental planning with Nation of Hawaii's President Bumpy Kanahele and Brandon Maka'avaava. They will be in Waimanalo in my district. If you guys could just stand up and wave, appreciate you being here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Vice Chair Tupola, motion to approve the minutes.
I move the session minutes as posted on the agenda be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, the minutes have been approved. Moving to page 4, we now move to the order of the day. Resolution 26-56, confirming the appointment of David Britton to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City and County of Honolulu. Is Mr. Britton here? Aloha, welcome. Would you like to say a few words?
There we go. Thanks. Good morning, members of the council. My name is David Britton. I'm a partner at the law firm of Case Lombardi. I've been there for the last 19 years, specializing mostly in real estate. I'm volunteered to serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I've done some zoning appeals on some of the neighbor islands. I'm generally familiar with the issues and the procedure, and I look forward to being of service to the community. If the members have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions for the nominee? Seeing none. Thank you so much for being here today. We will be referring your resolution to committee where I'm sure we'll have more questions, but thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, Resolution 26-56 has been referred to the Committee on Zoning and Planning. Resolution 26-59, confirming the appointment of Richard Bryce to serve on the Commission of the Fire Commission on the City and County of Honolulu. Is Richard Bryce here? Aloha, Mr. Bryce. Thank you for being here today. Would you like to say a few words?
Good morning, all. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. I was asked to join the HFD Board of Commissioners by someone whose opinion I take in high regard, and I don't take that lightly, so I'm looking forward to the opportunity to speak with a couple of you individually, to the rest of you as a whole. I'm looking forward to giving back to the city, the county, and the state that's done so much for us and me and my family over the years, so very much looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the nominee? Seeing none, any discussion? Thank you. Resolution 26-59 has been referred to the Committee on Public Safety. Turning to page 5, Resolution 26-91 relating to the appointment of Darian Chun to serve on the Board of Water Supply of the City and County of Honolulu. My notes tell me that the appointee is not able to make it today. That's okay. We'll be referring this to the committee. But do we have any testifiers, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Chair, we have Mr. Lau in the chamber.
Thank you. Ernie Lau, managing.
Aloha members, Chair members, Ernie Lau, Board of Water Supply Manager. We stand in strong support of Darian Chun to the Water Board. His experience as an engineer and also in the construction of critical projects, including water resource projects. So we gladly support his appointment to the board. Mahalo nui.
Thank you. Any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, Resolution 26-61 has been referred to the Committee on Energy, Environment, and Sustainability. Moving to the bottom of page 5, from the Committee on Energy, Environment, and Sustainability, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 49 of 2026 and Resolution 26-38 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
This relates to the appointment of Raynard Soon to serve on the Clean Water and Natural Lands Advisory Commission for the City and County of Honolulu.
Thank you so much. Is Mr. Sun here today? Nope, that's okay. We'll be referring this. Oh, it's for adoption. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers? Ernie Lau?
Thank you, Chair. I've had the honor and pleasure of working with Ray Soon while he was Chief of Staff under the previous administration, also as a board member on the Board of Water Supply. I strongly support his appointment to this commission. I think he will bring valuable insights to the commission and help utilize the funds to help our environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other testifiers? Calvin Konahiki, please proceed.
Aloha, Calvin Hule, Konihiki. My 2 cents, my feeling is that you should have kapunas that, representing the true government. the Constitution, the rights, the law, justice. Just to sit down and be one. You want to be present in there, which they should. Because what happened these past days and whatever, I feel the Army engineers and all these guys with their clean water, DLNR, all with natural nature, cultivation, agriculture, and the main one is the water. And that Lake Wilson, and the rivers. I grew up in Manoa Valley, nearby Paradise Park, right over there. And I was living in the housing, Manoa housing. I was about 6 years old. I see one duplex housing floating down the river when had one flood. So I guess my kuleana and all this kind spirit feeling was about the water.
Thank you.
And the water is very important because all the guys cleaning up over everything. That water is so, I don't want to just say, I just pray. And I think you should have whatever, lahui. We get my own, no more too much, but I think one of the smartest, except me, but get some components to sit on top there. I recommending that, and if nobody go, I go. Thank you, Aloha.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on the appointment of Ray Soon to the Clean Water Natural Lands Board? Seeing none, any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 49-2026 and Resolution 26-38 CD1 has been adopted. Members, moving to page 6, first reading items. Vice Chair Tupola.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the first reading items listed on pages 6 through 10 of the agenda pass first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Bill 19 relating to the building code, Bill 20 relating to rounding of cash payments, Bill 21 relating to transit-oriented development, Bill 22 relating to the executive operating budget and program for the fiscal year July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2027, Bill 23 relating to the executive capital budget and program for the fiscal year July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2027, Bill 24, authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds and bond anticipation notes of the City and County of Honolulu in a maximum principal amount equal to the aggregate of the amounts appropriated in the capital budget ordinance of said City and County for the fiscal year ending in June 30, 2027, and specified in said ordinance to be financed from the proceeds of the sale of such bonds and to be expended from the General Improvement Bond Fund, the Highway Improvement Bond Fund, Solid Waste Improvement Bond Fund, the Housing Development Special Fund, or the Taxable General Improvement Bond Fund. Bill 25, determining the real property tax rates for the City and County of Honolulu for fiscal year July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Bill 26, relating to the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation operating budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2026 to June 30, 2027. Bill 27, related to the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation capital budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2026 to June 30, 2027. Bill 28, relating to the legislative budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Bill 29, related to real property taxation. Bill 30, relating to public parks. Bill 31, relating to cultural sites and public parks. Bill 32, relating to public parks, recreational facilities, and botanical gardens. Here we have it, last one. Bill 33, relating to funds.
Thank you so much. Let's go bill by bill to take public testimony, starting with Bill 19, relating to the building code. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers on Bill 19?
Mr. Chair, we have no testifiers for this measure.
Thank you. Next, Bill 20, relating to rounding of cash payments. I believe we have Calvin Konohiki and Roy Konohiki registered to testify. Please proceed.
Aloha.
Aloha.
I put in a statement why I disagree with this bill. And for the full council meeting, the reason why Hawaii is not a 58th state, the 58th State Admission Act 1959 do not have these listings. The Hawaiian Kingdom have 20 countries signed treaties set in place from around the world. Can the 50 states prove to have the treaties or the names, the treaties from 20 countries around the world? Do they have the name? Justice memo shows U.S. never legally annexed Hawaii. Invalid annexation of Hawaii in 1898 under President McKinley. Memorandum, whatever, by Alfred Desires, or excuse me, Professor of Law, Geneva School of Diplomacy. State to United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and members of the United Nations. The United States resulting from an illegal military occupation.
Thank you, Calvin.
Any fraudulent annexation such as the international law.
If I can ask you to wrap up your testimony.
I get the authority and the rights, but if I'm going to be Pono and just the Hague and the Geneva Convention. Thank you very much. Aloha. Leave alone.
Thank you. Roy, would you like to say a few words? You're registered to testify. If not, that's okay. Okay, thank you. Next, we're moving on to Bill 21, excuse me, Bill 21. We have Manager Ernie Lau.
Thank you, Chair and members. Ernie Lau, Board of Water Supply. I do want to thank the Council for introducing this bill. We strongly support Bill 21 relating to transit-oriented development, which incorporates gray water reuse systems as a community benefit for a TOD special district permit. This will really help extend our precious VI and our freshwater resources for our community. We need to look at all different ways to conserve water, to extend our resources in light of the challenges that we see what's happening with the climate. And I think the events of the last few weeks just bring home, I think we are faced for a time where extremes will be the new norm for us to deal with. That it could include drought. So I really strongly support this bill. So mahalo nui.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, do we have anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 21?
Mr. Chair, we have no other testifiers.
Thank you. Moving to Bill 22. Bill 22. I believe Shelby Billionaire has registered to testify. Is Mr. Billionaire present?
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 22? Hello, Nellie Wassa. Welcome. Please proceed.
Good morning, council members. Natalie Wassa for the record. Bill 22 is the executive operating budget of the city. First of all, I just want to put out a public recognition for our E&V staff. I saw them out there and they were pumping water proactively in 2 of our communities in East Honolulu. Some of these guys, they work around the clock up to 36 hours. And so I just wanted to put that out there so we can all appreciate the work that they do and did. With respect to Bill 22, it's good to see that the owners of the real property tax, of the storm, are going to have a remission on their real property taxes. I think that's really important to recognize that they have had serious damages done and are going to be having some financial issues. I wanted to also mention that I oppose the restricted parking zones. We had that in the news recently. We should not be subsidizing those, especially when those people have stuff in their garages and so many cars that they have to park on the street. So that's my testimony on Bill 22, Chair. I missed Bill 20. I was here, but you didn't see me. May I testify on that now?
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. Bill 20 is about the rounding up of cash payments to the city. This makes sense in light of the fact that the U.S. government has stopped production of pennies. However, it's a bit confusing. On paragraph A, it states that rounding for ending in transactions ending in 1 or 2 cents will be rounded down, which makes sense. I mean, that's the way it's typically done. But then in paragraph C, it says that notwithstanding what it says in A, that the totals will be rounded up. So I asked you to strike paragraph C, please. I mean, it's just our way of math. We always round down if it's less than half and round up if it's higher. So that's my testimony on 20. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other testifiers on Bill 22?
Mr. Chair, we have one testifier with their hand raised online.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Konoiki, this city council and the state government is perpetuating a crime for extortion and corruption, forcing the residents to pay all the bills that is being passed. Opposing from Bill 20 to 22, 23, 25, 28, the State Bill for an Act have no jurisdiction. The city order of business is ripping off the public or the residents. Now, Bill 28 is operating budget is evidence of extortion and not following the rule of law. Taxation for the rail project is extortion, forcing the residents to pay for the rail and not using it. Aloha, mahalo.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 22? Seeing none, thank you. Turning to Bill 23, we have Shelby Billionaire registered to testify. I believe Shelby Billionaire is not here. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify? Natalie Wasa, please proceed.
Thank you, Natalie Wassa, for the record. I haven't had time to go through things thoroughly. However, I wanted to mention to you, as you go through this bill and the proposed projects, to look at them very carefully. And the reason I say this is that we had a project in Hawaii Kai, I don't know, it's ended like 6 years ago or so, in one of our parks. It was meant to be a holding area so that the water could settle in times like when we had the recent storm and then not go into Koapa Pond. That project, I think, should not have been. What we have now is a big pond in the park, and it, you know, is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. I think it was an absolute waste. I don't know if it was designed incorrectly, but it just, I don't think really serves a very good purpose and was money not well spent. So I ask you to thoroughly vet these projects, because some of them may not be needed, or others may have higher priorities. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other testifiers on Bill 23? Bill 23.
Mr. Chair, we have testifiers with their hands raised online.
Okay, Shelby Billionaire, aloha, welcome. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Tommy Waters. I finally got on. I was on the OHA meeting right away with emergency going on right now. Ili is still going through issues. We just had fun with Darius Keela, Angela Poli, got people on social media pumping doodle water. We just drove Pa'akea Road today. Now, I love the city and county, but there's total massive failures. You got houses floating, all kind of kukai. The reason why I'm testifying on this bill is there's faults. No matter what I say, you're going to approve this bill, but it's $4.8 billion for your operating budget. If you ran it through the AI, you only got like $30 million for emergencies. You're already out of the money. You're out. Now your capital budget is $1.1 million. That's $5.9 billion. My name is Billionaire for a reason. You got $6 billion, like your uncle just said. To me, you're feeling you're exploding, and the people is going through so much kukai. I don't want to swear right now on the record, but they need help. They need support. We called Darius. We called everybody. They put us through the ringer. I called DFN. I called Hawaii Fire Department with Sheena De La Cruz, because Jody Carolina's church powers was flooded in doo-doo water 6 feet deep. It still has doo-doo water. It's a little lower now. They can pump up, but the cars, the stuff, we just drove by it. So Tommy, I don't know what sure you can do, but you got to send the help to the people where they need it, allocate the budget. Rick Belanger got scolded. He got his butt chewed last night in North Shore because he pointed the finger back at us to the community. What did you guys do? I'm glad when Uncle stood up and said, hell no, don't you be reverse psychology is back on us. City and county is liable. So is the state. Governor Green shut down the shelter and screwed everyone in Waianae, Nanakuli, and everyone else who has no place to go.
Point of order about Bill, I think we're on Bill 23.
For the budget, yes, for the budget. So please allocate the budget because when you run it through, how are the funds going to come to the people? Please to figure it out to the city and county. And same thing for Bill 23. So you don't have to ask me for Bill 23. It'll be the same thing. So you can use both 2 minutes for the time. Thank you, Chair. I am imploring your heart to do what you can as chair. Thank you very much. Aloha.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else on Bill 23? Seeing none. Moving to Bill 24. Bill 24. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers on Bill 24?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Moving to Bill 25. Nelly Waso, please proceed.
Thank you, Natalie Wassa, for the record. This bill sets up the real property tax rates for next fiscal year. I oppose the rates for the residential A. The rates are the same as last year. However, now we have the median home sale price at $1.2 million. If you take the rates that are listed in the bill times $1.2 million, you're going to get about $6,300 approximately. For a homeowner who lives in the home, however, not considering the exemption, the tax is only $4,200. That's a 50% higher tax for those people who own properties that are not lived in by the homeowner. They are, a lot of them, lived in by people like me and my family who rent. And when those taxes get increased, what happens? Rent increases. So I ask you to look at that. I appreciate what you did a few years ago, Chair, but we need to really look at this again. And I know that the minimum threshold is going to go up, but still, this is a huge impact. And then look at the lapsed. I found the lapsed funding very interesting this year. It was very good the way that it was presented. So ask you to take a look at that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 25? Seeing none, thank you. Turning to Bill 26. Seeing none, Bill 27, relating to Hart. Okay, Bill 28. Bill 29. I believe we have one registered testifier for Bill 29.
I think Ms. Iwasa wanted 27, I believe, or 28.
28, I'm sorry, thank you. Bill 28, back to page 8, no, page 9, Bill 28.
Thank you, Chair. Natalie Wasser, for the record. Bill 28 is the legislative budget, which covers the City Council. I was happy to see the contingency funds laid out. In the past, they were just one line item, and it was really hard to tell what the amount was. However, I would like to point out that, you know, the city administration has the huge schedule of vacancies. It's done by number of positions. It's done by number of years, and there is absolutely nothing in there about the legislative budget vacancies. And I asked you folks to do this last year, and I didn't see it. So we're early in the budget sessions. I ask that you provide that information. The mayor's not going to compel you to do that, but I am asking you to do that for transparency, because what happens is I think then that those vacancies are high, and you know, but I have no way. Nobody has any way of knowing if you don't share that information. So please put that in your presentation for going forward. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you. Anybody else on Bill 28? Seeing none. Bill 29. We have Tyler Masterson registered to testify. Aloha and welcome.
Aloha, Chair and Council members. My name is Tyler. I'm the CEO of TrueRoll, a property tax workflow company serving 150 assessment community counties across the country, including Kauai and Hawaii County, and I'm a resident of Waialua. I want to first start by expressing genuine gratitude to this council and the city's emergency management teams. My family and I lived through the Kona storms flooding firsthand in Waialua. over the past 2 weeks, and the H&L alert notifications shaped how we made our decisions and when we moved, and that represents and that reflects an investment that this council has championed. So thank you all very much. I spoke with this council before around this time last year on homestead and primary residence data during the vacancy tax policy discussion. I'm back today in part because Bill 29 on today's agenda, by requiring direct submission of regulatory agreements and mortgage documentation for low rental income exemptions, this bill highlights a core operational need: the ability to efficiently and intake, process, and verify eligibility of complex documents prior to entering them into Tyler Technologies enterprise systems. That capability is exactly what TrueRoll provides its county customers and ties directly to multiple workflows for the Real Property Assessment Division. We do this for Scott Taruya in Kauai County, and we just launched a partnership with Lisa Mura and Kita in Hawaii County, and specifically designed to work alongside Tyler Technologies IAS workflow, IAS world developments. If this is interesting to the county in any way, I'd be very interested in hearing from y'all. I think I've spoken to a number of y'all in the past before, so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you. I'm sure we'll have questions in committee. Thank you. Moving on to Bill 30. Bill 30, any testifiers on Bill 30? Seeing none, Bill 31.
Mr. Chair, we have one person in the chamber with their hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would that be on Bill 30 or 31? 30, oh, please come forward. Aloha and welcome.
Thank you, Chair, members of Council. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. I think that's one of the first times I've ever had to lower the microphone. I'm sorry, we did submit testimony, but maybe late. So just if I can summarize our testimony, Chair, we absolutely support Bill 30, which is clarifying that farmers markets are permitted in city parks. Again, as an organization, a farming organization that operates farmers markets, we understand the role that they play, not just on supplying local produce products, foods, plants, and all the other above, but the direct sales that can provide for the farmers and ranchers, increasing their margins, the education, knowing who's growing your food, and also supporting small businesses like value-added food manufacturers. What we want to ensure that if this bill continues to move, that there is at least some assurances that if these are our farmers markets, they're true farmers markets, not craft fairs, not swap meets, that they're truly supporting the farmers and the ranchers and those food producers who use local. So again, we're in strong support, but we want to make sure there are some guardrails that it is indeed a farmer's market. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you so much. Any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you for being here today. Next, Bill 31. Any testifiers on Bill 31? Bill 32, Natalie Wasso.
Thank you, Chair. Natalie Wassa for the record. Just a couple comments. First of all, this bill would allow the city to charge fees for use or rental of botanical gardens and make certain other changes. I just wanted to make sure that this doesn't mean that people will have to pay an entrance fee to get into our botanical gardens. You know, I feel that it's very important, especially these days, that people are can get into our public areas and enjoy them without having to worry about whether they have, you know, the funds to get in. So just make that comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other testifiers on Bill 32? Bill 33, Natalie Wassa.
Thank you, Natalie Wassa for the record. This mic is kind of weird. It's not staying in place. Bill 33 would set up a special fund for parks maintenance, recreation services, and would be a revolving fund. I oppose this. You know, if you look at that, that lapsed funding schedule that was put together by Chair Waters, you can see all of the special funds that lapsed last year. That is money that was tied up and not available for use for other things. And this happens every time you folks put out a special fund. It also reduces your own flexibility with respect to putting other services in there or paying for other things that are very important to the city. So I absolutely oppose this and ask you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 33? Bill 33. Seeing none. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much, Chair. I appreciate it. I'm going to, do we make comments on any of the first reading bills?
All of
Okay.
All of them,
Thank you.
please.
I'll start with Bill 19.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make mention and show gratitude towards Gina Thielen, who worked with me on this. It's important for me that we have some type of step of a temporary certificate of occupancy, because we talk a lot about permit timelines. When did they get it? How long did it take? But really, we're not done with the permitting process until human bodies are in the building. And a lot of times our inspectors have long lists that they're going through. There are buildings that sit vacant, and because of a lack of certificate of occupancy, no one can enter. So I know it's not the case with every building, but I do think that this process will help us, because people want to see affordable housing go up, and then people live in it. So hopefully as we move through this process, we can work with all the interested parties, including the department, to make sure that this is something that can be implemented and that works. Secondly, I would like to make mention about Bill 23. Just in regards to some of the capital projects, I know we put some towards drainage and other things. And I just wanted to make mention and shout out, just because the testifier did bring out things and specific infrastructure in my community, that HFD was there yesterday with 2 pumps. DFM was there with a Vector truck. DOT brought out 3 Vector trucks, and we had 5 pumps going. And Ili Road right now has 4 pumps going and a DFM Vector truck and a pump. So definitely the city and the state came out in full force, and we're not done until a particular family is able to re-enter their home, but I thank them. I thank them, and I thank all who are helping. Lastly, I would like to make mention about the parks package. So I introduced a handful of bills that relate to the parks. I've been working with Director Thielen as the chair of Parks, Housing, and Homelessness. I wanted to see if there were ways that we could really help DPR succeed. I think we all want to help them succeed. And so just briefly, you know, what was mentioned by Brian as far as farmers markets. There are a lot of farmers markets and food outreaches in our community, and really on the city side, we can't offer a lot, but we do have parks. We have parking lots, we have open spaces, and I think it's going to be something that helps to revitalize the area. Secondly, also with what was mentioned by Ms. Iwasa, the reason why a special fund would be advantageous is because many people want to see our parks improve. In fact, they would probably give if they knew the park by their house would improve. But because we cycle all the money back into the general fund, many times people are discouraged because they think, well, if I give, it might not go to the park that I really want fixed. So we're trying to do something that would not just help the department, but help the community so that we have safe, clean, and usable parks. There are handfuls of other things that we put in there, such as cultural sites, and some of the parks do have cultural sites, and we want to work with all the stakeholders so that we're doing the appropriate steps forward. And I just lastly want to thank the department for all their work with us on this. We're hoping that this is going to be a step forward for the department. We've seen huge strides of improvement in MSS, and if we are able to help them with some of their authority and execution of funding, we could see a big difference. So thank you very much for the support on these bills. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Kia Aina.
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of comments. First, on Bill 25-2026 regarding the tax rates. I just wanted to make a comment because next year, as you know, the City Council has created a 3-tier structure to hopefully provide relief to many residential A and TVU homeowners. So I look forward to working with the Budget and Fiscal Services to ensure that so we can figure out the dollar amount. As many of you know, the median home on Oahu is $1.2 million, with condos at $504,000. As a result of that, many homeowners are taxed at a higher percentage instead of the lower rate. And so we have created, the City Council has created a tier three-tier structure for Res A, first tier up to 1.3, second tier 1.3 to 2.5, and the third tier is 3.5 and above. And for TVUs, it's up to 900, the second tier 900 to 2 million, and the third tier is 2 million. It's going to be a fairer process to make sure that a lot of local families who have TVUs or residential A units are treated fairly. Second, I wanted to make a comment about Bill 30. Appreciated the comments by the Farm Bureau. As many of you know, our Waimanalo parks are inundated with tourists and local families, and we've banned all forms of commercial activities. So I am concerned a little bit about allowing farmers markets because I appreciate them. If it is, I would narrowly tailor it to food, but still have concerns because there's no more parking even as it stands. So it's just a matter of what parks would be allowed if this moves forward. And I also wanted to make a comment about Bill 32 relating to giving the Parks and Recreation Department authority to charge fees. I would like to ensure that there are guardrails. I don't believe they should have sole discretion to be determining parking fees or fee structures. They can make recommendations, but it should come before the council. I also wanted to make a comment about the testifier on charging to botanical gardens. Ho'omaluhia Botanical Garden in Kaneohe is at 724,000 people coming. A great majority of those are visitors. We need relief. And so I do want a fee. I am very open to the idea about a fund, but I need to ensure that there are guardrails on the parameters of the legislation to ensure that it is the city council who would be making any final recommendations on the tiers of the fees and costs, et cetera. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair. I do want to make comments on the parks package. Thank you very much, Vice Chair Tupola, for that. I do want to note that I am in support of Bill 32. I know that we have discussed even looking at the charges for parking in certain parks and recreational areas. So fully supportive of that. I'm looking forward to further discussions as the bill moves forward. As for Bill 33, I am also wary. I am wary of special funds as it does take away from the funding dedicated. However, I look forward to the discussion because if we are able to not just dedicate it to the particular Department of Parks and Recreation, we know there's a hui of departments that help our parks facilities, whether it be Department of Design Construction as well as facility maintenance. But I'm looking forward to that discussion, but of course noting that we want to ensure that further funding can be supporting the rest of the agencies that also support our parks. Mahalo.
Thank you. Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. For Bill 25, just please note for the record that I would like to disclose that I filed a council communication number 42, 2026 out of an abundance of caution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to echo the comments of Councilmember Kia Aina with regard to botanical gardens, especially because Foster Botanical Gardens in downtown, it's in my district. There are a number of visitors who visit who are tourists, but also locals as well. And I want to make sure in the same line of argument as Councilmember Kia Aina that these fees are fair and make sense.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members, on first reading items? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Seeing none, the first reading items on pages 6 through 10 of the agenda have passed first reading. Thank you, members. Moving to page 11 from the Committee on Housing, Homelessness and Parks, Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Committee Report 51, 2026 be adopted and Bill 11, 2026 pass second reading.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Relating to affordable housing incentives.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 11? Seeing none, members were in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 51, 2026 has been adopted and Bill 11 has passed second reading. Moving to the top of page 12, third reading. items. From the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. I move that Committee Report 45, CR 4526 be adopted and Bill 1, 2026, CD1 pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the establishment of fees and charges for services of the Department of the Medical Examiner.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto? Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire? Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 8 ayes, 1 member is absent.
Thank you. CR 45, 2026 has been adopted, and Bill 1, 2026, CD1 has passed third reading. From the Committee on Zoning and Planning, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 62, 2026 be adopted and Bill 6, 2026, CD1 pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
Bill 6 relates to development standards in the apartment and apartment mixed-use districts.
Thank you. I believe we have one registered testifier, McKinley Eads. Please proceed.
Aloha, McKinley Eads testifying on behalf of the Avalon Group in support of Bill 6. This bill takes a practical approach to housing by removing barriers within existing apartment and apartment mixed-use zones without changing where development is allowed. The most important impact is affordability. Allowing more floor area on the same parcel spreads land costs across more units, lowering the cost per unit. It's one of the few tools the city has to improve housing affordability without subsidies. The bill also increases capacity while keeping existing setbacks. That means more housing can be built without changing the neighborhood character or building relationships to the street. Just as important, it makes the rules clear and more predictable. That reduces delays, lowers costs, and helps projects move forward. Savings that ultimately benefit renters and buyers. And importantly, this bill is limited. It applies only to areas already zoned for apartments and doesn't expand development into new neighborhoods. For these reasons, we respectfully urge your support. Mahalo.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Next, we have Wilfred Motosui. Aloha. Thank you for waiting patiently. Please proceed.
My name is Wilfred Motosui, speaking on Bill 6, 2026, CD1. I support the bill. Good morning, Chair Waters and Vice Chair Tupola. I support the bill, but the below concerns need to be addressed before any meaningful amount of housing will be built by developers, I feel. I am not sure if I'm too late on this already because it's third reading. But anyway, and I've said this before, you must remove, and this might be the wrong avenue to do it, all developments that are going to be sold from Ordinance 1810, Chapter 29, Affordable Housing Requirements, which include residential condos, subdivision lots, clusters, and PDH housing projects. I believe because of this ordinance, we don't see any condo projects being built in the apartment areas like Punchbowl, Makiki, Mo'iliili, Makali, and Kapahulu. This ordinance makes building any project except big developments, such as those in Kakako and Kapiolani, too risky to develop. Even the big developments, I'm told, were only able to sell only 5% to 17% of their available affordable units at the time of completion of their projects. Therefore, the conclusion is that the buyers are not buying or qualifying for these affordable units. Developers are trying to help build apartment units because of the shortage needed for housing for about 60,000 units by 2027, I've been told. But yet we are burdened by the city with this onerous regulation. And we are not requesting big payments from the city for each unit that we build, like Bill 7, that are getting paid. Also, UHERO just put out an article yesterday saying that selling the market units in a new project effectively release for sale cheaper, affordable condos and houses anyway. So in effect, we developers are also producing affordable housing when we build and sell market units. So there's no need to require this ordinance for the new units that we build and sell. And I'll try to make it real quick already. I know I run out of time. I wish you folks put the 4 FAR on A2s, because A2s have 994 parcels, I've been told, and which is quite a big difference. I think 4 times the amount of A1, A3, and AMX2 combined. So why are you folks not giving the A2s, which has a lot of lots ready for go to develop, A4? Then you can increase your available units when they build. And then my last thing is, another big restriction for building more apartment units is the parking requirements. And I'm not talking about amount of parking, but if the parking side and rear setback can be like Bill 7, where parking can encroach into the side and rear yards, more parking can be provided for small developments on 5,000 square feet parcels like that. Now, more parking on site will relieve the demand for street parking and reduce disputes with neighbors. This last thing, my architect said that without the use of the setback area on the lot, he could only come up with 5 parking stalls on a 5,000 square feet lot. But if he could go into the setback area, like Bill 7 is allowed to do, he could fit in 16 parking stalls. You know how much more units that is? And then we can increase the housing. And that's what everybody's saying. We need to increase the housing, the number of housing, because that would decrease the pricing, etc. on the real estate. So anyway, what I'd like to provide is people to buy and own the unit instead of renting. I know rentals are good, that no doubt, but I think they should, if they can. We try to have them buy the units, so in case they wanted to sell, they could have some equity inside. And I've included the layout for the architect who drew the parking for the apartment building on 5,000 square feet. So it is possible, but it's up, to you guys what's going to happen. Thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate your testimony today. Mr. Clerk, is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 6, CD1?
Mr. Chair, that concludes the testifiers.
Thank you. Members are in discussion. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto? Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Excused.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are, 7 ayes, 1 no, 1 member is absent.
Thank you. CR 62, 2026 has been adopted and Bill 6, 2026. CD1 has passed 3rd reading. Moving to the top of page 13, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 63, 2026 be adopted and Bill 7, 2026, CD1 pass 3rd reading.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This bill relates to sign standards for apartment and apartment mixed-use districts. It amends the LUO land use ordinance relating to the regulation of signs or apartment and apartment mixed-use zoning districts.
Thank you. We have 1 registered testifier, Kieran Polk, Couple A Chamber of Commerce.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other testifiers on Bill 7 CD1? Seeing none, thank you, members. We're in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much, Chair. I want to thank all the council members here for supporting this bill. It is crossing the finish line today, and I have worked hard with different businesses and communities within my district. So we have Ho'opili that's still coming out. We have about 2,000 of the 11,000 homes that are approved to be built there, and many of them are apartment and mixed use. And so that community, as well as Mehana, is some of the newest communities on this island that feature businesses downstairs and people living upstairs. It really was an effort effort on the City and County of Honolulu's part to allow residents to live, work, and shop within their own neighborhoods. It was something small, but now as we proceed forward with any more apartment or mixed-use areas, this problem will be solved. We will not have it anymore. I thank everyone for supporting local, and I hope that we can continue to do bills like this that help businesses succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto? Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Excused.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 8 ayes, 1 member is absent.
Thank you. CR 63, 2026 has been adopted, and Bill 7, 2026, CD1 has passed third reading. Thank you, members. Moving to resolutions, top of page 14 from the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 4626 and Resolution 26-34 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Seeing none, any discussion, members? Noting none, any objection or reservations? Seeing no objection, CR 46, 2026, and Resolution 26-34 has been adopted. Councilmember Okimoto.
I move that Committee Report 4826 and Resolution 26-46 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 48, 2026, and Resolution 26-46 has been adopted. Moving to page 15 from the Committee on Energy, Environment, and Sustainability, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Chair. I move, as I get this, I move the Committee Report 50 of 2026 and Resolution 26-42 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
This accepts a gift of conference registration and lodging costs valued at $1,806.64 to the city from the North American Society for Trenchless Technology for a staff member from the Department of Environmental Services to attend the 2026 No Dig Show Conference in Palm Springs, California from March 30th, 2026 to April 1st, 2026.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting none, CR 50, 2026, and Resolution 26-42 has been adopted. From the Committee on Housing, Homelessness, and Parks, Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Committee Report 52, 2026 and Resolution 2632 CD1 as amended be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of 3 high-back traditional benches and 3 bronze plaques with inscriptions to read, donated by the families of Moon Chon Dickey and Moon King Wong, donated by the families of Marion, Nun Fo, and Al Wong and Ruth Lee, and donated by the family of Yuli Chen Wong, valued at $3,823.53 to the city from Greg Wong to be placed at Kaimana Beach Park.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 52, 2026, and Resolution 26-32 CD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 16, Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Committee Report 53, 2026, Resolution 26-40 be adopted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Requesting the city administration to consider designating the month of July as Disability Pride Month.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we had.
Thank you.
Sorry, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Seeing none, CR 53, 2026 and Resolution 26-40 has been adopted. Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Committee Report 54, 2026, Resolution 26-45 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of 3 sets of pickleball nets, net posts, and materials, including installation, valued at $6,750 to the city from Jennifer and Mel Ona for Kamiloiki Community Park.
Thank you. I note that we have Shelby Billionaire registered to testify. Mr. Clerk, is the testifier available?
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Thank you. Any other testifiers? Seeing none, members are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 54, 2026 and Resolution 26-45 has been adopted. Moving to page 17 from the Committee on Infrastructure, Transportation and Technology, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 55, 2026 and Resolution 26-47, which requests the Department of Transportation Services to consider installing shelters at bus stops along routes with service frequencies exceeding 30 minutes, be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Thank you for the explanation. I believe Don Sakamoto has registered to testify. I see him on our screen. Please proceed, Mr. Sakamoto.
Good morning, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Tapola, other members of the Council, Donald Sakamoto. I support this resolution. It's a tragedy as a writer of a public transportation since 2000 to now, it's 26 years, and advocate for public transportation for citizens for a fair day ride. I recommend that we have these shelters built, but also, when these shelters are built for our riders, make sure that there's an equal access way. In the past, at Seafarer meetings, we had somebody said they built a wonderful shelter, but there was no access way to it. And for a blind individual who testified at a Seafarer meeting, it was very difficult to access that bus shelter. So I totally agree, because it's a travesty to wait in harsh conditions for 30 minutes or more, especially down the country and whatnot. So I fully support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other testifiers?
Mr. Chair, that concludes the testifiers.
Thank you. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 55, 2026 and Resolution 26-47 has been adopted. From the Committee on Zoning and Planning, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 64, 2026 and Resolution 2627 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution grants a special management area major permit to allow for the construction of a new one-story single-unit dwelling, detached covered cabana, two-car open parking area, in-ground swimming pool and water feature, and at-grade spa in Kahala, Oahu.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto? Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Excused?
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 8 ayes, 1 member is absent.
Thank you. CR 64, 2026 and Resolution 26-27 CD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 18, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 65, 2026 and Resolution 2629 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution grants a special management area major permit to allow for the Hawaii Iki Cable Landing Station expansion project in Honolulu, Oahu.
Thank you. I believe we have one registered testifier, David Slessor. Is Mr. Slessor available?
Aloha, Chair. Vice Chair and Council members. My name is David Slessor. I'm the project manager for the Hawaii Cable Project. I'm standing by my written testimony in support of Resolution 2629 CD1 and in strong support of the project, and I'm here for any questions that you may have. Mahalo.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto? Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Talba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Excused.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 8 ayes, 1 member is absent.
Thank you. CR 65, 2026 and Resolution 26-29 CD1 has been adopted. From the Committee on Public Safety and the Economy, Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 66, 2026 and Resolution 2628 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of $18,500 to the city from the deputies for the Honolulu Police Department's Law Enforcement Explorer Program.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 66, 2026, and Resolution 26-28 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 19, Councilmember Tolba.
Move that Committee Report 67, 2026, and Resolution 2630, CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of one passenger van valued at $60,000 to the city from Kevin Wojcik Explorers for Life Association Incorporated and HFD Explorers for the Honolulu Fire Department.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you, members. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Seeing none, CR 67, 2026 and Resolution 26-30, CD1 has been adopted. Councilmember Tolba.
I move Committee Report 68, 2026, and Resolution 2631 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of travel and related expenses valued at $1,972.79 to the city from Washington State Narcotics Investigator Association, WSNAIA, for a representative of the Honolulu Police Department to attend the WSNAIA 2026 Training Summit and Vendor Show in Idaho from April 19 to 23, 2026.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 68, 2026 and Resolution 26-31 has been adopted. Turning to the top of page 20, Councilmember Tolba.
Move that Committee Report 69, 2026, Resolution 2635 be adopted.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of $17,300 to the city from the Honolulu Firefighters Foundation for various Honolulu Fire Department events.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any objections, members? Seeing none, CR 69, 2026 and Resolution 26-35 has been adopted. Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 70, 2026, and Resolution 2641 be adopted.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift for registration and travel expenses valued at $3,500 to the city from the Honolulu Zoological Society for a staff member of the Honolulu Zoo to participate in the Association of Zoos and Aquarium Species Survivor Plan in Indonesia from April 3rd to the 15th, 2026.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 70, 2026 and Resolution 26-41 has been adopted. Turning to the top of page 21, Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 71, 2026, and Resolution 2644 be adopted.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift valued at $11,360 to the city from 200 Club for the Honolulu Police Department to honor its outstanding personnel and citizenship for the year during Police Week 2026.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 71, 2026 and Resolution 26-44 has been adopted. Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 72, 2026 and Resolution 2648 be adopted.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of pre-owned classic Mini Express 48-volt tackless train valued at $8,300 to the city from the Honolulu Zoological Society for the Honolulu Zoo.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 72, 2026 and Resolution 26-48 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 22, Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 73, 2026 and Resolution 2649 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting the gift for the installation of pumps, filters, and UV water sterilization system in the Gariel exhibit pools for the Honolulu Zoo valued at $52,000 to the city from the Honolulu Zoological Society.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any objections? Noted no objections, CR 73, 2026 and Resolution 26-49 has been adopted. Moving to the bottom of page 22 from the Committee on Government Efficiency and Customer Services, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 74 of 2026 and Resolution 26-20 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
This accepts a gift of travel, hotel accommodations, meals, and related expenses valued at $5,874 to the city from the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators for representatives from the Department of Customer Services and the Department of Information Technology to attend an in-person site visit to the Arizona Department of Motor Vehicles from April 20th to 23rd, 2026.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 74, 2026, and Resolution 26-20 CD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 23, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 75, 2026, and Resolution 26-26 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
This accepts a gift of travel, hotel accommodations, meals, and related expenses valued at $2,900 to the city from the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators for a representative from the Department of Customer Services to attend the 2026 AMVA Leadership Academy Conference from April 13 to 17, 2026 in Arlington, Virginia.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 75, 2026, and Resolution 26-26 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 24, Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that balance of committee reports be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
ITTR-CR-56, deed conveying rolling lots 246 and 247 for public use in Eva Iliahi at Ho'opili Parcel 6 Roads. ITTC Committee Report 57, deed conveying row lots 20129, 20130, 20131, 20132, 20133, 20134, 20135 for public use in Eva Iliahi at Ho'opili Parcel 5. ITT Committee Report 58, deed conveying road lots 20142 through 20147 without 20146. Grant of drain easement 11353, grant of sewer easement 11353, grant of street light metering easements 11358, 11363, and 11369, and grant of traffic signal easements 11358, 11363, 11364, 11369 for public use in Eva. ILA Committee Report 59, request for authorization to settle a lawsuit against City and County of Honolulu entitled Gordon J. Knowles versus Cheryl Sunia individually and as an agent employee of Hawaii Pacific University et al. Civic number 1CC 161001086. ILA Committee Report 60, request for authorization to settle a lawsuit against the City and County of Honolulu and retired HPD Lieutenant Daryl Kahn entitled Joshua Spritzterbach versus City and County of Honolulu and Daryl Kahn et al. Civil number 1:21 CV 00456-LEK-RT. ILA Committee Report 61, request for authorization to settle claims against the City and County of Honolulu by Donna Y.L. Leong regarding partial reimbursement of legal fees and costs.
Thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, any objections?
Chair, please.
Councilmember Okimoto.
Please note my reservations for ILA CR-6026 and my no vote for ILA CR-6126. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
The HP. I'd like to note my concerns over the Gordon Knowles versus Cheryl Sunia case, which is ILACR 5926.
Thank you. Councilmember Tupola? No? Okay, thank you, members. Noting the reservations of Councilmember Kia Aina on ILA CR 59-26, reservations of ILA CR 60 by Councilmember Okimoto, and no vote on ILA CR 61, 2026. The balance of committee reports have been adopted. Moving to page 25, there is no unfinished business. Turning to new business. Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Resolution 2654 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
I do believe that we have an amended posted FD1, but this is relating to the transfer of funds.
Thank you. Is there a motion to amend? Councilmember Okimoto.
I move that Resolution 26-54 be amended to the posted FD1.
Second. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation of the amendment.
The FD1 makes the amendment set forth in the written summary as posted on the agenda.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 26-54 has been amended to the posted FD1. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 26-54 FD1 has been adopted. Turning to the top of page 26, Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-63 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds.
Thank you. Is there a motion to amend? Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Resolution 26-63 be amended to the posted FD1.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation of the amendment.
The FD1 makes the amendment set forth in the written summary as posted on the agenda.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Seeing none, Resolution 26-63 has been amended to the posted FD1. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 26-63 FD1 has been adopted. Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-67 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola, Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Designating March 2026 as March for Water Month.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we had Mr. Lau from the Board of Water Supply, but I think he might have left.
Okay, why don't we go to Board of Water Supply and then I'll turn to the public.
There we go.
Aloha, welcome. Please proceed.
Kathy Mitchell with the Board of Water Supply. Good morning, Chair Waters and council members. The Board of Water Supply supports Council Resolution 26-67, and thank you this morning for recognizing and the certificate during this morning's ceremony, and recognizing the importance of water infrastructure and to promote water conservation and sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kiko Bukowski. Aloha, welcome.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, council members. Kiko Bukowski on behalf of the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Local 675. I'd like to echo the words of the Department of Water Supply and thank this body for entertaining this resolution. Real briefly, our intent with this resolution that we've gone across the state to all the various counties. We have resolutions in the state legislature as well being heard as well. But primarily, the intent is to raise awareness for the full life cycle of water and its importance in our society. The full life cycle being the source, the transmission, distribution, the use, the management, the waste, as well as working on the reuse to complete the circle. So we appreciate your entertaining of this resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other testifiers?
Mr. Chair, that concludes the testifiers.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, Resolution 26-67 has been adopted. Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-68 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Establishing a selection advisory committee to assist the council in the appointment of the city clerk and appointing the members thereof.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have one person standing by remotely with their hand raised.
Okay, please proceed.
Hello, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Tabola, council members, Donald Sakuma, support this resolution. I believe we need to find a qualified person to replace Mr. Takahashi. I know Glenn from a long time, so I fully support it. We'll miss him very well, but look forward to your selection for the next person to replace him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sakamoto. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Resolution 26-68? Seeing none, members, any discussion? Seeing none, any objection or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 26-68 has been adopted. Turning to the top of page 27, Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-70 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of one high-back traditional bench, preparations of the grounds, and a bronze plaque with an inscription to read, donated by McArdle Russell Solomon Baginski Ohana, valued at $4,274.51 from Elizabeth McArdle Solomon, to be placed at Kailua Beach Park, double seconded.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, Resolution 26-70 has been adopted. Members, as noted previously, Resolution 26-72 has been canceled. Turning to the top of page 28.
Chair, at the appropriate time, could we go back? Councilmember Kiana would like to go back to page 24 at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Now is the appropriate time. What page?
Page 24, please.
24. Okay, page 24. Please proceed, Councilmember Kiana.
Chair, I'm sorry, I noted the wrong committee report for reservations. The committee report would be ITTCR 60-2026, not 59.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, can we correct that, or do we have to take the vote over? We can correct that? Okay, let's correct the record as noted. Thank you so much. So, noting the reservations by Councilmember Kia Aina on ILACR 60-60, yeah? Okay, and delete the reservations on ILA CR 59. Perfect. Thank you, members. Back to page 28. Announcements. Are there any announcements? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair. I know we're not in the month of April yet, but I do want to, since we are not reconvening as a council as a whole and the chambers soon, I do want to wish an early birthday to Councilmember Scott Nishimoto, whose birthday is the first week of April. Thank you.
All right, happy birthday. Councilmember Tupola.
I just wanted to congratulate the zoo. They got their 4 years of accreditation that they've been working very hard on. And also just thank all of the community members who have been giving selflessly of their own time, their own finances, and many of their coordination efforts that are being spearheaded. We thank all of the city employees as well and state employees. So with that being said, I know later we'll discuss all of the aftermath, but just right now, just a lot of gratitude for everybody that's extending themselves, including Councilmember Wire, who's not here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements, members? I just have one quick one. Please mark your calendars. We are currently in the annual City Food Bank Food Drive season, and that finale will take place on May 8th at Honolulu Hale, starting at 10 a.m., and we hope to all see you there. Vice Chair Tupola, motion to adjourn.
I move that this meeting stand adjourned till April
15th.
April 15th at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Thank
Second.
you. It's been moved and seconded. Any objections? Noting no objections, council stands adjourned until Wednesday, April 15th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Thank you, members.